How to bet the Bills and the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Are the Green Bay Packers on upset alert? And Ed Werder live from Big D. Welcome to your Sunday morning edition of Bet. That's Tyler Fulghum. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Big one today. I hope you're loose. Did you limber up?
I did some stretching, some mental gymnastics trying to figure out what to do with my daily fantasy lineups now that Dalvin Cook is a surprise inactive for the Vikings. So I don't know how good I'm going to be to you here. My mind's racing all over the place. So I'll just try and draft behind what you're doing, leading the show.
I had the pleasure of walking in on he and his team of geniuses trying to figure out daily fantasy. Not a pretty sight.
Geniuses.
If you want pretty,
Exactly.
youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We're starting to roll out NBA content in the form of win totals, over and unders. More on that down the line. It's time to get to work. Let's start with market movers, the games that have experienced the biggest moves, sides, and totals so far this week. Hey, look at that. The Green Bay Packers were a 3.5-point favorite. It did go as low as 2.5 before bumping back up to 3. Be very careful. More on that throughout the show. A game I haven't even touched this week, Washington, New Orleans. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm fading New Orleans offense until they give me another reason to. I think this might be.
Oh, you like the football team?
I like the football team. I think this could be a get-right spot for that Washington football defense that has been underachieving because the Saints offense is no bueno. Thank you.
The Cardinals were a 4-point favorite, and that went to 5, but that happened before the news that Jimmy Garoppolo would be out and that Trey Lance would be in. Surprisingly, the quarterback move had no effect whatsoever on the market. Total coming down in that game as well. I think people are starting to realize that the Arizona defense is for real.
Yeah, Arizona defense is good. They will be without Byron Murphy, and Trey Lance offers the best version of the San Francisco offense, doing what their DNA is, running the rock, and that is a way that the Arizona defense has been vulnerable so far this season.
All right, speaking of that NFC West showdown between the Niners, who are in Arizona today to take on the Cardinals. Caught myself midway through of a sentence that I didn't like where it was going, so I just finished awkwardly. Here's Nick Wagoner. He covers the 49ers for ESPN on what to expect from the San Francisco offense with Trey Lance under center today.
With rookie QB Trey Lance set to make his first NFL start, the 49ers installed a more Lance-specific game plan this week, which means you can expect to see more designed quarterback runs, a moving pocket, and perhaps most notably, more off-schedule plays. Lance noted that they did spend more time on what happens when plays break down this week. That's right, the Niners practiced how to improvise, which might sound like an oxymoron, but makes sense when you consider Lance's skill set and inexperience. Lance said the Niners didn't rep those plays a lot, but they did enough for him to feel like it, quote, helps out a ton. No matter how different things look, one thing teammates expect is for Lance to be poised. Left tackle Trent Williams told me that Lance has, quote, a confident aura around him, where you just start to believe in him the more you're around him.
Thank you, Nick. Don't step backwards for fear of falling into that jungle that was right behind you, but a nice hanging garden in Arizona. Regardless, let's pick the game. Cardinals are a 5-point favorite, total of 48.5. How do you attack it?
I'm going to attack that total. It has come down enough that I would like to go over now. Ooh. We know what Arizona's offense is capable of doing, obviously, and they have the weapons to exploit the weakness of that San Francisco defense, which is their secondary. Kyler Murray, his cadre of weapons led by DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, A.J. Green, Rondale Moore. Then on the other side, this now, even without George Kittle, and that hurts. Don't get it twisted, because Kittle affects not only the passing game, but the run game as well as blocking. But having Trey Lance at quarterback, I contend, gives San Francisco access to their ceiling as an offense because of what he can do off script, as we heard Nick Wagoner talking about, and then on script design runs. We saw him run 7 times for 41 yards in just the second half against the Seattle Seahawks. And although he did not play well in that game, if you're into fantasy, he scored 20 fantasy points in just 30 minutes of work. Now you're going to get him for a full 60 minutes against an Arizona defense that has been good this year, but is not at 100%. They're vulnerable against the run. That's what San Francisco does best. Not only is Lance in, but Eli Mitchell is back. So, you know, Kyle Shanahan likes to throw as many running backs as he can at the other team, and now he's got a more stable, a bigger stable, I guess, to work from. So I do like San Francisco with the points. I like the over as well of 48.5.
A lot of action there. I'm going to be opposed to you on this one.
Oh, here we go.
So let's go. First roulette bet of the day. Give me Arizona. I'm going to lay the 5 points. I am not a believer in Trey Lance now. I think there's a lot of potential down the road. He was brutal in the second half of that Seattle game last week when he had to fill in for Garoppolo. but that was mostly in the passing game. Tyler's right, he can run the ball. The good news for Niner fans is that Lance is going to have all week to work with the starters, and Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to custom tailor an attack on offense to his strengths, not to him filling in for Garoppolo. The bad news is that Arizona is actually a lot better on defense than people realize. They're top 10 in opponent yards per play, and they're third in takeaways this season. I would cram the box and say, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to throw the ball, Trey Lance, and I don't know if he can do that. I'll lay the 5 with Arizona. Now, speaking of teams that have issues with quarterbacks, whether it be injuries or elsewhere, the Cleveland Browns are in Los Angeles to take on the Chargers today. Baker Mayfield with a torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. He's been banged up. He's going to start. Chargers laying 2.5, total of 47. What's the angle?
I'm going under here, and it has less to do with Baker Mayfield and his shoulder. You know, that offense is not its best version without Jarvis Landry. He and Odell Beckham are still trying to get on the same page. But Brandon Staley is an absolute under machine. Last year as the Rams defensive coordinator, the Rams were 12-4 to the under. So far as the LA Chargers head coach this year, the Chargers are 4-0 to the under. He has just figured out ways to play the chess match where just let you run on him. He doesn't care. Running the football doesn't hurt you in the modern NFL. Throwing the ball explosively does, and Cleveland can't do that well right now with the way that Baker's looking, and Los Angeles defense designed to limit exactly that type of play. I think 47 is a little bit too high for a Chargers team that's just been nothing but under all year.
Complete agreement. Under 47 as well. Surprised this number is north of 45. Both teams ranked in the top 7 in scoring defense. Both teams ranked in the top 12 in opponent yards per play. Cleveland runs to run. Cleveland is 27th in pace. All the metrics you need for why an under would happen. And keep this in mind. The Chargers have held every opponent they've played this season to a season low in scoring output. They have been very, very good. As Tyler has mentioned, under 47 is the play. Let's move to Carolina, the Panthers, who will be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. This line has been on the move. The Panthers opened as high as a 4-point favorite. It is now Carolina minus 2.5 as we have moved through the key number of 3. The total is 46. You've backed my Eagles quite a bit this year. Are you doing it here?
Well, the steam moving towards the Eagles makes me like my play of over 46 more, because if the Eagles are winning this game, it's likely not going to be in a low-scoring affair. That would seemingly benefit the Carolina Panthers, who have an improved defense this year, even though it did not look its best against Dallas last week. But
no, it did not.
If this is going to be a game where the Eagles can hang tight, it's likely going to be Jalen Hurts matching and or exceeding Sam Darnold, throw for throw, run for run, whatever the case may be. He's got some weapons to work with, and Carolina can obviously score. DJ Moore, there's no CMC, but Chuba Hubbard has been okay. So I think 46, it's come low enough now that I want to attack the over here. This could be kind of a sneaky shootout game to me.
I will play the Eagles here, and I hate playing the Eagles because the Eagles are my football team, and they have stunk since the Super Bowl win a few years ago. This isn't the best number. If you're jumping in now like I am at this point, you're not getting the best of it. You wanted to get the 3, maybe a little money line instead, but this line stinks as much as any line there is. Carolina had 10 days to get ready for Dallas, and they were exposed defensively. We all thought this was one of the elite defenses in the NFL. Not so much. Dallas hung, 36 and 433 total yards. That's why this move is happening. Christian McCaffrey out for this game, which is big for the offense. Stephon Gilmore, nice trade, not active for this game. Not going to be playing in this one. Watch out for Philadelphia. Could be one of the surprises alongside Cincinnati. How about a little big dog, little dog, as we attempt to identify live underdogs? What do we mean by live? Underdogs that won't just cover, underdogs that will win outright. That is live. A big dog is a dog of 3.5 or more. A little dog is a dog of 3 or less. This guy was red hot 2 weeks ago. He nailed both of them. I took the mantle last week. Went ahead and hit with Seattle. Went ahead and hit with the Jets of all teams.
There you go.
So I don't really feel confident about any luck coming my way this week. We'll start with you. What's your big dog?
You see it up here, Chicago, 5.5.
Oh.
They are getting on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. I still contend that the Raiders, despite their fast start, not as good a team as they looked. And I think the Chicago Bears are only getting better week in and week out, despite the fact that I don't trust Matt Nagy. At least he's given the reins to play calling over to Bill Lazor, and immediately you saw the difference in the game plan to accentuate Justin Fields' strengths. Throw the ball downfield to Allen Robinson. Throw the ball downfield to Darnell Mooney. No, whatever he did against the Cleveland Browns, that's not playing to Justin Fields' strength. Lazor has accessed what works for Fields. I still like to see him run a little bit more. So I think we're now approaching a week where we're still seeing Chicago improve under Fields, where I think Las Vegas may have played their best football already this season, and we can see them kind of regress throughout the rest of the year.
You do have to wonder if there's an issue in the locker room. John Gruden, some disparaging comments coming out via email, a little bit of controversy with the Raiders right now. Who knows if they're 100% locked in. Oy vey with this one. The Miami Dolphins, plus 11. Mostly me trying to say I like the 11. I don't know how live this pick is going to be, but remember something, all right? As bad as Miami has been offensively, this is the cure. This is the worst pass defense in the entire NFL. They're going to be down Antoine Winfield at the safety position. Jamel Dean is questionable at the cornerback position. They're down O'Donnell, someone on the defensive line as well. Probably should have had that name at the ready, but you get where I'm going here. Miami should be able to put their points up. You got to wonder, all the emotion in that game for Tommy Boy back in New England last week, are they going to be ready to get up for Miami? Wouldn't be surprised if this one is tighter than many expect. I'm going to get comfortable for this next one. What's your little dog?
Oh, get comfy. My little dog is
Sitting back.
the home dogs in Pittsburgh. Now, I don't love backing Ben
Nobody wants to
Roethlisberger.
watch this game.
And I don't like betting against the god, Teddy ATS, especially on the road where he's covering like 85% of his games. However, that Denver offense just keeps taking a beating. They've lost more weapons on that side of the ball. Now you go to a place in Pittsburgh that is tough to play against a defense that has underachieved this year. But again, without them having their personnel, so to speak, their best personnel to bring, I think it could be a slight get right spot for that Pittsburgh defense. No matter what, I think it's a low-scoring game. I don't think we're going to see Teddy Bridgewater with that offense lighted up.
Roethlisberger's not going to light it up today.
And Roethlisberger certainly ain't doing it as well. But he at least has all three of his wide receivers and his running back, Najee Harris. The offensive line's still an issue, and that's not a great matchup. But again, it's Pittsburgh at home. I guess the best way to sum this up, this is a bet on Mike Tomlin being a better coach than Vic Fangio, especially at home, because we have this 15-year resume for Mike Tomlin being great. Fangio, I think, is good, but I'm going to trust Tomlin over Teddy ATS, basically, in this spot.
It's going to be the worst game of the day to watch,
Ugh.
without question.
Hello,
Jacksonville,
New England.
Tennessee
Houston?
will have more appeal. Maybe Houston tries to surprise somebody. All right, little dog, Cincinnati. We talked about it earlier. I think they are as live as any team on the board today against Green Bay.
Wow.
This is going to be pros versus Joes. The public is going to line up on Green Bay at the cheap price. You can understand why. They get Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers offense. They've been fantastic since week 1. Cincinnati, 10 days to get ready. They're playing at home. It's a non-conference opponent. Jair Alexander, Pro Bowl cornerback for the Packers, out for this game. Green Bay, 16th in opponent yards per rushing attempt. You can run on them, and if you can run on them, you can keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. Cincinnati quietly is top 10 in both yards per play and opponent yards per play. They're actually half decent. Sloppy, risky, but I think the Bengals are live today. I would go ahead and play them on the money line. I'd take the 3 points as well. So, those are the little dogs. Let's go big, as in big NFC East showdown in Big D today as the Dallas Cowboys get set to host the New York Giants. So for more on that, we go to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ed Werder, who is on the field in Big D. Ed, good morning and thank you for the time. Dallas running back Ezekiel Elliott, wide receiver Amari Cooper, both listed as questionable entering today's game. What is the latest with those two players?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy admitted to Cowboys players that in the past he overworked some of his teams in Green Bay, but he's carefully managed Elliott and Cooper throughout the week. Both were limited in practice, both, as you said, listed as questionable, but both, I'm told, are fully expected to play. Elliott's had some tightness in his knee. Cooper recovering from 2 injuries, bruised ribs and a strained right hamstring. Of the two, Elliott figures to have the more prominent offensive role. The Cowboys run more than they've passed in their 3-game winning streak. And while Elliott's 64 carries are the fewest of his career through 4 games, he does have his 3rd highest yardage total and most touchdowns in that span. His workload has increased every week from 11 carries against the Bucks, 16 against the Chargers, 17 against the Eagles, and then 20 last week against the Panthers. And of course, the Giants primarily have played 2 deep zone. That encourages the running game. The Cowboys are 25-4 when Elliott rushes for 100 yards in a game. As for Cooper, career-high 13 receptions in the season opener, just 3 catches each of the last 3 games, and he'll also likely be covered by James Bradbury. And in 2 games against the Giants in 2020, Cooper had just 8 catches for 64 yards, failed to score, although be mindful of the fact that 5 of those 8 quarters were without Dak Prescott.
thorough context from our guy, Ed Werder, on that Dallas side. Let's go to the New York Giants offense. Yet again, they'll be without Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, two of their top wide receivers, for Daniel Jones to work with. However, last week, in the exact same circumstances with those two wideouts out of the game, Daniel Jones had a fantastic game, maybe his best as a pro, going down to New Orleans and getting a victory. What can you tell us about the Giant offensive game plan that might carry over from what they did last week?
Yeah, the Giants should carry some confidence into this game coming off a road win in New Orleans where they averaged 8.08 yards per play, third most for any team in any game this season. Daniel Jones had the first 400-yard passing game of his career. And while Jones has thrown only 4 touchdown passes this season, his shortest is 33 yards. He also has scoring passes of 37, 52, and 54, and that matters because the Cowboys have allowed 19 plays of 20-plus yards to rank 31st in the NFL. Cowboys quarterback Trayvon Diggs, the NFL interception leader, told me that Dan Quinn's emphasis all week preparing for the Giants has been eliminating the big play. Diggs believes that's correctable, saying everything we've given up so far was because of us. It's not because of what anybody's done against us. And Diggs is typically matched up against the opponent's best receiver, so he should have Kenny Golladay. And worth knowing, I think, that Jones leads all NFL quarterbacks with a 71% completion percentage on throws 15 or more yards down the field. I think if Jones protects the football, the Giants have a chance in this game.
Ed Werder, live from the Metallica concert, joining us here on Bet. Thank you, Ed. Good luck today.
Thanks.
Again, I continue to wish people luck as if they're playing the game. One day I will get that sorted. Dallas laying 7, total of 52.5. Big Blue. You like them?
No, not really. Not really. This one's hard for me. I'm just going to play the total.
Giants are red hot, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go under that total of 52.5. I think we could see a game where, again, the Dallas side is encouraged to run the ball, limit possessions, or at least keep the clock running against a Giant defense. With the way Tony Pollard and Zeke have complemented one another as great and efficiently as Dak Prescott is playing, I don't know if they'll need Dak to air it out like he did week 1 against Tampa Bay. The script you've seen the last 3 weeks is running the football against those specific opponents. And again, I think you have a matchup here where that benefits Kellen Moore's offense by turning around and handing off to those dynamic running backs. Then on the other side, I do think even as well as Daniel Jones in that offense played last week, that I'm going to call that a fluke until I see it more consistently, especially with Shepard and Slayton out. I want to see it again this time. Another hard road environment where it will be loud against a defense that I think has actually played better than New Orleans Saints defense this week, although some of their dominance comes from the fact that they're turning people over, and that is something that's often fluky. However, you look at Daniel Jones' past, even though he's not done it much this year, he's a quarterback who's been prone to turn the rock over. So I'll just play under 52.5. Don't really love this game from any angle.
Teaser time. And we don't have a lot of good teaser options on the board this week, unfortunately. So we're going to go a little 6-point teaser here. We take the Dallas point spread, which is 7, and we drop it down to 1. Only need to win by 1. But here's the catch. You need a second team to tease them with. So I'll go to Monday Night Football, and I will tease the Baltimore Ravens from 7 down to 1 as well. In order for that to win, much like a parlay, both legs need to hit. Dallas's offense has been as good as advertised, top 6 in both scoring and yards per play. The defense has made strides.
Yeah.
And by strides, it's loosely defined because they were terrible last season. But they've gone from 28th to 17th in opponent yards per play. They've been better this season. Like you, I don't know if I trust the Giants. Defensively, third down conversions, opponent yards per plays, takeaways, there's just not a lot there. It's an NFC East game. You never know what the hell is going to happen in these NFC East games. Anything could literally play out. I think Dallas wins. I'm going to tease it down, and we're going to pair them up with Baltimore. Now, let's move to the big AFC Championship game rematch. Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills travel to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs laying the full field goal of 3, total of 56.5. We're going to do a little bit of action here. I want a side and or total, and then we're going to go ahead and hit some props.
Okay, I'll let you handle side if you like, but I love attacking this total. It's the highest on the slate today, 56.5, but to me that is still way too low for this matchup. Go back to the AFC title game last year. The two teams combined for 62 points. Then consider the context this year. Have you seen the Kansas City Chiefs play defensive football?
No, I haven't. Because they don't play defense.
Exactly, they don't. And now here comes Josh Allen and that Bills offense that can put 40 on anyone. So they'll provide at least 30, 35 points themselves. Then you look on the other side. The Bills defense has been great this year. but they've done it against Jacoby Brissett, Ben Roethlisberger, and a bunch of other no-name, nondescript quarterbacks. Now Patrick Mahomes in his own house, I think they'll provide at least 30 points the total as well. I don't know who wins, but this will be a high-scoring game. I'm over 56.5.
Bills money line. I'm not going to mess with the spread. You could take the 3 as well. I would do that. In fact, I am going to do that. But I'm going to play the Bills to win this game outright. I don't think they're going to be intimidated at all going into Arrowhead Stadium and all the crowd noise. They were just there for the AFC Championship game. Is it going to be suddenly more hostile this time around? Probably not. They're more mature. They can deal with this. The defense has been better. Kyler's right. They haven't really played anybody. Those numbers are propped up. Yep. But they're still better than the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
I could see literally 0 plays from the Bills defense all year and still know that they're better than the Chiefs. Even with 10 guys, it'd be better than the Chiefs. The key here is just the ability to get maybe one stop, whether it's at the end of the first half or the end of the second half. One stop. I'm not asking you to play elite. Get one stop because I don't know if Kansas City's going to stop you. Money line on the Bills. Prop-wise, what do you like?
Josh Allen overs, baby, to the moon. We're more confident that Buffalo is going to
Dogecoin.
provide points, even though we're still confident in the Chiefs as well. But over 2.5 touchdown passes? Hello. I got plus 140, plus 155 against this Chiefs defense? You kidding me? 304.5 yards. Again, I think 330 is something I would play the over to in this particular matchup with Josh Allen and the Bills, who throw the ball at a higher rate over expectation than just about any offense in the NFL.
Okay, I'm going to go Josh Allen as well.
Okay.
Longest completion over 39.5 yards. I just need one big bomb. 40 yards or more. As already noted, the Kansas City defense is absolutely putrid. Kansas City and Tennessee are tied for the lead in plays of 40 or more yards allowed. Case in point. Here are the longest completions per game of the season for Josh Allen. Game 1, 44 yards. This is a breakdown of the completions given up by the Kansas City Chiefs. Against Baker Mayfield, they gave up a 44-yarder. Against Lamar Jackson, they gave up a 42-yarder. Against Justin Herbert, a 43-yarder. And against Jalen Hurts last week, a 37-yarder. That wouldn't have won, but still, for Hurts, that's long. Translation, week in, week out, they're giving up big plays. We need just one. Josh Allen's got the arm. No huddle offense where we rip through a handful of games still on the board that we have not hit yet. Let's go to Monday Night Football. Ravens -7, total of 46, hosting the Indianapolis Colts.
I'll lay it with the Ravens here at home on Monday night against a Colts team that is reeling right now. We know Carson Wentz has been banged up and inefficient. Now Carson Wentz has to go up against this Baltimore team on the road without Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith, his all-world everything left guard, and his starting right tackle. Jonathan Taylor, not a good game script for him, the best offensive weapon they have, as the Baltimore Ravens are 7-point favorites. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson playing good football. Might get Rashad Bateman, their first-round draft pick, to get into the offensive mix a little bit, just like them way more than Indy. So I'll lay the 7.
Already mentioned this one. This is the second half of my 6-point teaser. Dallas from 7 down to 1. Baltimore from 7 down to 1. Carson Wentz on the road, prime time against a good defense.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not going to work out very well for him there. Not going to mess with the 7. We'll just tease it. Game number 2, the Patriots laying 8, total of 39. Watch out for the fireworks as they take on the Houston Texans. After we spent all that time on New England last week, I have a feeling we're not going to spend a lot of time on New England this week.
Under 39. Winning team has to score 13 points?
2, a safety.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, the winning team has to score like 13 points, whether it's the New England Patriots, who I'm guessing do win, or the Houston Texans. Bill Belichick scheming against Davis Mills is a laughable mismatch for the Houston offense. So I like New England, but love the under because I think one touchdown is all whoever wins needs.
Quickly and off script, what is greater? Houston points scored today or Red Sox runs scored today?
I'll go Red Sox runs. I'll go Red Sox runs.
I would too. You can list literally any team in the playoffs. Oh, it's someone going against Scherzer? One run against Scherzer would be enough. I'm going to play the Houston team total under 14.5 points. Houston's offense is very bad. The Patriots are off a loss. Belichick's always pretty solid off a loss, at least to an extent. And he's going against a rookie quarterback, and we know the history of Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. 14.5 points, I really don't see Houston getting there. Maybe they do, but under 14.
They're going to need to score a special teams or a defensive.
It's going to need to be a fluke. You're not going to have 2 sustained drives and then another score as well.
Famous last word.
Tennessee laying 4.5, total of 48.5. They're in Jacksonville taking on the Jaguars. Huge AFC South showdown.
Sneaky bad team shootout here because neither team is very good defensively. Tennessee is getting A.J. Brown back. Still no Julio Jones, but the big dog, Derrick Henry. I don't know if you've ever seen him play Jacksonville in his career, but his baseline is about 245 yards and 2 touchdowns against this team. having A.J. Brown back helps. And then on the other side, Tennessee's defense is not good. And even though DJ Shark is no longer there, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson, Trevor Lawrence has shown me enough big-time throws in games. He might turn the ball over, but he'll make 2 or 3 throws against a Tennessee defense that stinks. So I'll go over 48.5.
I like that angle. I'll lay the 4.5 with Tennessee in this game. Titans 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 against Jacksonville. They have owned them. This is a bet against Jacksonville right now in the sense that I don't think they're really spending all that much time focusing on Tennessee. You all know the news about Urban Meyer. You don't need to rehash that. But it was a series of closed-door meetings about his future with the team this week. There was the report from one of the unnamed players that after he addressed the team and walked out, the team just broke out into laughter and started laughing at him. You laugh at clowns, all right? You think people laugh at Bill Belichick? You think they laugh at Nick Saban? No, you laugh at clowns. They're there to make you laugh. And right now, that's what it looks like in Jacksonville. Tennessee, bad loss against the Jets last week. They still outgained them by 75 yards. I think the number's down because of that loss. Yeah. Tennessee bounces back here. Take it to the bank. Favorite bet of the week. Which one?
I liked this a lot more when it was just 10. It's now up to 11. But, I mean, I don't see how Miami hangs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Big lumber here.
We know that Tom Brady and the Bucs offense can put up points against Miami's defense. And I understand that Tampa Bay's pass offense has been doo-doo this year. But Jacoby Brissett's going to be the guy who continues that trend. He doesn't have Will Fuller. His only 2 targets are Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle, and they operate near the line of scrimmage. So he's going to have to string together 10, 12 play drives to score, which I think he'll have 1 or 2. But I also think the Tampa Bay offense is going to have 4 or 5 drives where they score with Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown having plus-plus matchups. I think Tom Brady, who didn't look all that great against Bill Belichick, has a Tom Brady game at home against Miami.
Okay, very interesting. A lot of points to lay, but it's Miami. They have been putrid as of late. I will play the under in the aforementioned Chargers and Browns game. I know this is one you're on as well. We're in lockstep on this one. It's just 2 very good defenses, right? Both top 7 in scoring defense, both top 12 in opponent yards per play. We know Cleveland likes to run. We know Baker Mayfield's hurt. Browns offense a little shaky the last 2 weeks. 20 points per game against the Bears and the Vikings. Okay defenses, but not great defenses. Slow tempo as well for Cleveland on offense. I think this game hopefully gets off to a sluggish start. They battle it out. We stay under 47. Let's talk Major League Baseball playoffs to bring down the curtain on this fine program today. 2 games. Tampa Bay is a plus 105 underdog at Boston for Game 3. Series is 1-1. Sox are your favorites at minus 115, over under 8.5. How would you like to play this?
I'm going to go Red Sox first 5 run line, and you get a good price on that. They just have the lead after 5 innings, and it's plus 110 there for a Red Sox team that is playing loose, playing good baseball right now, and the Rays, very, very good. But the pitching matchup, I think, is an advantage for the Red Sox. Nathan Eovaldi, the righty who's been seemingly raises his level of play as you get into the postseason and these games matter more. I like that more than Rasmussen on the other side. If it was a lefty starting like Chris Sale, I'd be more inclined to back the Rays, but their platoons indicate that they are a less efficient offense against righties, and Eovaldi's been good. We saw him pitch well against the Yankees in that wild card playoff play-in game. So I'll take first 5 run line plus 110 for the Red Sox.
How about Sale just getting cracked in that game? They went up 2-0 and then just bombed them for 5 in the first, but lost the game. Tampa lost that game, and as a result, I'm going to play Tampa Bay here. Ooh. Big alert on this. I'm going against the line move. All right, Tampa opens as a favorite. Now they are a small dog. I like Rasmussen pitching today. 2.39 ERA is Luis Garcia for the next game. I'm looking at the wrong note, so I'm going to bump back. Rewind. Rasmussen, 2.09 ERA on the road.
Even better.
Drops down to 1.79. In the second half of the season, 2.30 in 4 appearances against Boston. Going against Eovaldi is going to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. He was fantastic in that game against the Yankees. I will take the Rays in this game. White Sox, your former city, 121, minus 121. They're a favorite. The Astros, plus 110. The total is 8.5 like the last game. Anything here?
No, I hate this game. I look deep, and the trends show that the White Sox at home as a favorite are like 60+%, but then you look at the Astros on the road as a dog, and they're like 60+%. I was trying to attack the total. Surprisingly, the White Sox, despite that offense they have, an under team at home, and I don't want to bet an under here when I don't think it's either team's best pitcher as well. So I just hate this game. Maybe not the Astros are plus 110. Maybe sprinkle like a half unit on the money line there. I thought the White Sox would win this series. They've disappointed, but maybe Stroh's money line. I don't love it.
Big gut play here. Gut soon to be filled with the breakfast burrito because it's early. We've been working all morning. I'm very hungry. Gut play is going to be the Chicago White Sox. Can you really put together a season like this and then get swept out? The Astros are nasty. The Astros are winning this series. They're probably winning the AL, and they might win the World Series. I don't think anything is that outrageous of a take there. But can the White Sox really? I mean, they're going to be at home. They've been terrible on the road. They're going against Luis Garcia, shaky over the last month of the season. Come on, White Sox. Make the series at least for a couple minutes.
I had you in the World Series.
Tyler Fulghum, Joe Fortenbaugh. This has been your Sunday morning edition of Bet. Thank you for watching. Best of luck today. Hey.